Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're getting into something that, let's be honest, is a huge challenge for modern parents. How do we handle our kids and their screens? We're going to dig into the science and the expert advice to find some clear, practical answers.
So let's start with a story. This is from a 19-year-old girl, and her words really get to the heart of how serious this can be. To deal with social anxiety that started way back in middle school, she found an escape online. It was a world where she didn't have to face her real-life fears.
But that escape, well, it came with a truly devastating price. Her online world turned into an 8-hour-a-day habit, and it led to this profound feeling of hopelessness. And her story isn't just a one-off case. It's a really stark warning about the very real-world consequences of a virtual escape.
So you have to wonder, how big is this issue really? Well, when you look at the data, the picture it paints is, honestly, it's staggering. We're looking at a generation growing up almost entirely online.
9. Just think about that number for a second. That's the average age a child in Vietnam gets their very first smartphone. That's a full 4 years earlier than the global average. This isn't just about getting a new toy. It's about being handed a key to the entire digital universe before they've even hit double digits.
And once they have that key, it becomes part of their daily routine, fast. A massive majority, we're talking nearly 9 out of every 10 kids are online every single day. For them, it's as normal as eating breakfast.
And the amount of time they're spending there is just shocking, somewhere between 5 and 7 hours a day. That is a huge chunk of their childhood, time that isn't being spent playing outside, hanging out with friends face-to-face, or doing the hands-on learning that's just so critical for their development.
So, what is it about these little glowing rectangles that makes them so hard to put down, especially for a young developing brain? Well, according to the experts, the answer is all about brain chemistry.
It all comes down to a chemical called dopamine, the reward hormone. Every single notification, every time they level up in a game, every quick video, boom, a little hit of dopamine. For a kid's brain, this is incredibly powerful because the part that controls impulses, the prefrontal cortex, it's not fully built yet. It's kind of like having a gas pedal floored with no brakes.
And this kicks off a really powerful cycle. The brain starts to crave those super easy dopamine hits. So when you take the screen away, the real world, by comparison, can feel, well, boring. This constant overstimulation is literally rewiring their brain's reward system, which makes it way harder for them to find joy in simple things like reading a book or just playing outside.
Now, this brain rewiring has real consequences that go way beyond just being a little moody. We're talking about serious, hidden impacts on a child's health, both their body and their mind.
Physically, the damage is all over the place. Doctors are seeing a huge spike in nearsightedness, or myopia. At the same time, that blue light from screens messes up their sleep, which leads to them being exhausted all the time. And here's the surprising one. It can actually damage their digestive system.
Yeah, and this is wild. It's a danger most of us would never even think about. See, if a kid always eats while watching a screen, their brain starts to connect the two. After a while, just seeing a screen can make their stomach release digestive acids, even if there's no food. And over time, that can cause some serious stomach problems.
And mentally, the toll is just as heavy. Experts are seeing a clear link between heavy device use and a rise in anxiety and depression in kids. This usually goes hand in hand with shorter attention spans, less interest in learning, and sometimes it can even show up as irritability or aggression.
Okay, so that was a lot of pretty scary information. The big question is, what can we actually do about it? Well, the most effective strategy isn't just about taking the phone away. It's about a complete shift in how we think about the problem.
Here's the key. One expert used this amazing metaphor. Instead of just focusing on pulling the weeds, the phone, we need to get busy planting flowers. It's about asking a totally different and much better question. So what are these flowers? They're all the amazing, real-world things that are way more interesting than a screen. We're talking about stuff that builds skills, sparks creativity, and creates real human connections. The idea is, when you fill a kid's life with all this great stuff, the phone just naturally starts to look less appealing.
And this is a big one. Our actions are so much louder than our words. If we're staring at our own phones while telling our kids to get off theirs, well, that message is just not going to land. We have to be the role models for the behavior we want to see.
Of course, planting all those beautiful flowers works a lot better when you also have a good fence around the garden. So let's get into the final practical steps, setting up some clear, consistent, and healthy boundaries around technology.
Okay, this table breaks down the expert-backed rules for healthy tech habits, especially for protecting their eyesight. And the trick here is to see this as a whole system. The daily time limit is balanced out by more time outside. The short breaks protect their eyes during screen time, and the bedtime rule makes sure they get good sleep. Altogether, these rules create a powerful shield for their well-being.
And we'll end on this question. It's something for all of us to think about. This isn't really about fighting a war against technology. It's about being intentional and actively building a real, vibrant, exciting life for our kids. A life that no screen could ever hope to compete with.
Health is the most precious gift. If this video helped you or someone you love, please like, subscribe, and share so more families can stay safe and healthy.